Welcome back to the On Adventure podcast. I'm Josh Self and I'll be your host. Today's guest is someone who took a simple idea that women shouldn't have to wait for permission or a travel partner to see the world, and she turned it into a global movement. Amanda Black is the founder of the Solo Female Traveler Network, or SOFI Travel, which has grown into the largest community of women who travel solo, with more than 500,000 members worldwide. She's also the founder of Kindred Community, which designs connection retreats for women, and she gave a TEDx talk on something she calls shared firsts. The idea that belonging isn't something that you find, it's something that you create by doing an activity alongside other people. What I love about this conversation is that it's not really about travel logistics or bucket lists. It's about what happens between people when they step into unfamiliar territory together, and why that matters so much in the world where most of us are starving for real connection. Without further ado, here's Amanda Black. Amanda Black, welcome to the On Adventure podcast. We are going to dive right into the middle, I think, of a really fun conversation. And first of all, thank you for doing this on a Friday morning, and I'm excited to have you on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to chat.
So tell me a little bit about who you are and specifically about the business that you have built in the last several years.
So my name is Amanda, and I currently live in San Diego, and I own the Solo Female Traveler Network. We, first and foremost, we're a community. We're a community for all women around the world who identify as a woman who travels solo. So I started this business as a community 10 years ago, and about a year and a half in, we started offering our members wanted to travel together, so we started doing tours. And the first one was to Bali, and 8 years later we do about 25 different countries.
Wow. How many women are going to these 25 countries every year?
That's a good question. Maybe,
I mean, we're talking tens, hundreds, thousands?
Hundreds. Yeah,
Okay.
hundreds.
Yeah. And so give me an example of some of the 25 countries.
So we specialize in destinations that are perceived as less safe or less logistically possible for women traveling solo. That's not to say that's all we go to, but some of our most popular places are Egypt, Morocco, India. We also go to Mongolia, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan. We also go to places like Bali, obviously safe and easy and dreamy, but we just think that that we go to also places where we know there's a really rich, deep culture that's harder to access, even if it's safe and beautiful to go solo. So those are kind of our sweet spots.
And I guess that prompts me to ask why pick countries that are deemed to be more safe rather than, the dreamy places that are super safe or deemed to be that way. Why go this route when your target market obviously is solo females traveling on their own?
So why go to places like Bali,
Yeah.
or why go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we include destinations that women really want to go to, even if they can go by themselves. If we have special relationships, friendships, partnerships in those destinations, and we know that you can experience these popular, safe places in a much deeper, much more authentic way than what most travelers get to experience when they just go on their own, then that's when we'll decide to do a tour there. So Bali, for example, is a place where that was our very first meetup tour, and I chose it because for reasons that had nothing to do with this. It was just the first one. It was closest to me living in Australia at the time. But as I spent so much time there, I made some really great connections and friends. And so now it's still a destination in our portfolio because we take you inside people's homes and people's private temples. You sit with women who teach you how to make Balinese offerings in their own kitchens like they do every day. So it includes things where you really get an inside look at the super rich, warm, like deep culture that tourists usually never see because they don't really often get too far past, the yoga classes and the beach and that stuff.
Yeah. So I've read also that you have something special that happens in sometimes the first 2 days of these trips where the I'm picturing a group of women that are coming from all different spots of the country or maybe the world, don't know each other, don't have any connection whatsoever. What happens in those first couple of days when they are experiencing these new things for the first time together?
My favorite part of all of our tours is exactly this. It's the fact that the women who are interested in a tour like ours, a tour goes that focuses on supporting communities, that wants to dive deeper into the culture. It's for curious women who want to really maximize their experience in a
Mm.
destination, and they're coming by themselves. So when we get a group of women who all have these core things in common, we make friends like super fast. I mean, it's within the first night, people are like telling each other their dreams. They're laughing already like old friends. I mean, not to sound cheesy, and of course it doesn't happen 100% of the time with 100% of people that fast, but within the first 2 days, like, you're friends. I mean, we are together, everyone's alone. If we form our own little travel family, and it's something that I didn't expect when I started this company and running these tours, but it's been consistently the best part.
Do you see a lot of these relationships carry on out, once the trip's over, and do the women ever come back and do another trip together?
Yes, like a lot.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have a few, I call them like this is like cheesy, but I call them little Sophie families. And what happens is we'll get a group and the vibe will be so high. They'll make such good friends with each other. And then after that, they decide to go, at least some of them, not always 100% of the group, but they'll decide to go on another one of our tours. And then they meet new travelers, and then they sort of like grow this group over time. And so about once a year, there's a few of these groups, right, that just sort of expand, but once a year, they'll just sort of travel together. And so I'm really excited because in a few weeks we have one of those happening, and I'm going. We have our Nepal and Bhutan trip, and we
Oh,
have
wow.
women coming on this trip who have been, one of them has been on 11 tours with us. Others have been on 8 tours, 6 tours, 3 tours. Like, I mean, we have some of my personal favorite repeat travelers, and travelers, I mean, they're my favorite because I know them so well now, and they've become friends. So we have these kinds of almost reunions with among different people all throughout the year. So when you do come on a tour, if other people know each other, they're going to be the most welcoming, the most fun, the most genuine people that travel.
Yeah. So did you start this with the idea of just trying to develop a community online, or I guess the tour business, did that come later on, or was it always part of the process?
I started a Facebook group about 10 years ago, and when Facebook was cool. And
It's not cool anymore?
it's still the best place for community like this, I have to say. There's nothing that's replaced it yet. But I started this Facebook group because I was traveling solo, and I just found a need for other solo female travelers to connect with. I mean, you'd meet them while you're traveling and you become such good friends so fast. And then I wanted a place to more easily stay in touch with them, but I also thought that all of us deserved support in moments that got tough. It's one thing to go to your friends back home and tell them, this is what happened, this is how I feel. Most of the time, they're going to say, oh, just come home. We miss you. Just come
Mm.
home. But that's not always what we need to hear. We want to keep going. We just need a little bit of support, a little bit of encouragement. And sometimes it's about safety. We want to know, what am I actually supposed to wear if I'm traveling to the countryside of Morocco, for example? How am I actually supposed to manage my safety going to India, as another example? So I created a Facebook group to address to address all of this. And it was really meant to be just for my travel friends to invite their travel friends. But apparently, a lot of women wanted this because it grew super fast and now pretty big. So, about a year and a half after I started the Facebook group, some of our members were talking about wanting to travel together. And at the time, we were at about 65,000 members. We're now over 500,000.
Oh, wow.
So, I decided why not? I guess I'll give it a try. I was an experienced traveler. I had a little bit of experience in the travel industry. I was a broke expat on a working visa living in Australia. So I decided to put together a trip to Bali. That trip was incredibly successful. I sold 17 spots. At the time, at the time, 18 was probably, we started out 18 maximum per trip. Now it's 14, but at the time we had 17 travelers on that trip. And by the end of it, 9 of them got our logo tattooed because to commemorate the experience and the community that they felt on that trip.
Yeah, so it's one thing to say that was an awesome trip. It's another to make a permanent declaration by tattooing the company logo onto their body. So that says a lot. That says a lot about the deepness of the community. To me, it doesn't even sound like friendships. It's something that is hitting at a much deeper root that, in the, yeah, you kind of hit on this a minute ago with the Facebook comment, but in this hyper connected world that we live in, there's still a loneliness epidemic. There's still people that are desperate for these kind of connections. And it sounds to me like you've created an opportunity for that to happen over and over and over again. That's got to be pretty cool to be in the middle of.
Yeah, it was one of the most unexpected and the most rewarding parts of
Yeah.
doing all of this.
So tell me a little bit about how when you talk about some of these places, risk is something that comes up and fear around that of, is this safe? Is it dangerous? Am I putting myself in a place that maybe I shouldn't go? How do you talk through that with the women that go on these trips to prepare them? And I think the other question on the other side of that is, when they get back, when they're done with these trips, what have they learned about themselves from going to a place that is, quote unquote, riskier than others?
Can you repeat the first part of the question? Sorry.
Yeah, how do you talk through the risk and the fear around risk with the women going on these trips?
I'm thinking, sorry. I'm thinking about how to answer this just because the answer changes depending on who I'm talking to
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
kind of like if they're coming with us, if they're going with on their own, because we have these two pieces, right? We have the tours that we offer, we also have the community, and we support women whether they come with us or they don't. So,
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
gotcha.
I would say like if they're coming with us, we have spent all of our time. Our highest priority is safety, and so we have built teams in all of these countries of the best of the best. And in these countries, we're even connected a lot of the time with local government, and we know if something's going down before the news does. So
Hmm.
we're really well connected, and we have a whole team of people on the ground nearby that our travelers never see or know exist, but they're following and tracking the progress of the trip. So when you
That's
come on a
awesome.
tour with us, it's safety is number 1, 2, and 3 of our priority list. So you're really well taken care of that way. And we do teach you how to move around. The big stuff is handled by us. The smaller stuff, like how to hold your purse in a crowded Medina, for example, or how to handle catcalling, for example, things that we can't control, we will we before you depart, and also the team on the ground will sort of like guide our travelers and how to best handle that and how to mentally prepare sometimes for that kind of stuff. So yeah, and also I'll touch on this briefly, but when when talking about safety for solo female travelers. It is a huge factor. But I also think that one thing that we in general, most of us kind of misperceive is we look at it as black and white, like safe or
Mm.
unsafe, go or
Yeah.
don't go.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. It's like anything, there's a lot of gray area. You can be someone who's never ever ever left your hometown and very little experience being spatially aware, knowing how to carry a purse, knowing
Hmm.
knowing how to read signs of your environment, how to talk to people, what information to share, not to share. If that's you, then I would probably never recommend going to India, for example, for your first trip. You can build these skills and you can build them over time and through experience. So I would say, India for me, I have no hesitate. I've been there a bunch of times and I have no hesitation to go. India for other people, I would say, you might be better off either waiting or going with a little extra support.
That's really cool. I like the way you worded that. That risk is really on a spectrum, and that spectrum changes considering your own perspective of what you've experienced and done. So then travel and risk becomes like a muscle that you have to work and develop over time, which makes it safer no matter where you go. That's an interesting way to look at it, and I'm sure very well received within in the community. And the other thought I had also is you would, if it wasn't safe, if your process wasn't safe, you wouldn't have repeat travelers, and you certainly wouldn't have repeat travelers to the extent that you described a minute ago. So that says a lot in both what you've actually done as well as what you're communicating to women as they prepare to go to these places. So do you go on all these trips?
No, we do about 30 tours a year at the moment. So I go on a few, the ones I want to or the ones that need me. But otherwise, we have local leaders and guides and stuff who join.
Do you have a favorite spot?
I'm not allowed to have favorites, but I mean, I have a favorite for every one of my moods, right? But
Got it.
one that I really love lately has been Mongolia.
Hmm.
I just that was a country that we can become like a little bit jaded as travelers. I hate to say it, but
Yeah, yeah.
that was one after many, many countries and many years of travel that absolutely like totally blew my mind. So
But tell me more about that because I've never been to Mongolia. So what was it that blew your mind?
it is, first of all, the people are so, well, they're beautiful, but also they're very warm and gentle and very sweet. And so on our tour, we go for the Golden Eagle Festival, and it's like you feel like you're in a movie set. It's like,
Hmm.
it's unreal. There's no electricity, and people have all these fires going to both stay warm and also to cook food and to make coffee. And there's kind of like, there's smoke, there's horses, there's big burly men wearing like covered in fur, there's eagles on people's arms. It's like, where am I?
That sounds wild.
It is wild and it's just beautiful. And I mean, I can recall quite a few times where my jaw was literally dropped, like looking at watching what I was seeing. So yeah, Mongolia is a very special, very wild, not, I mean, wild almost place, very little
Hmm.
infrastructure. And yeah, it was amazing
So does it feel like you're going back in time?
for sure. Going back in time to a country and a culture and a world that you've never experienced.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
So I'd mentioned this a second ago, but what I'm also curious about for anybody that pushes themselves to a limit or beyond of for you doing this and diving into a business that you didn't really plan from the get-go, or for any of the women that are going on these trips, what are some of the lessons that have been learned through what you've put together?
As a business owner,
Yeah, I think that's a good way, for you specifically, but also for the women that go on these trips. What are some of the things you've seen that they have learned about themselves?
I think traveling solo, no matter how you do it, as long as you're stepping even a little bit outside of your comfort zone, like you're not going to just a resort and never leaving, like you're really going, putting yourself out there, you will discover, and that we all discover, we solo travelers, we all discover how capable we are,
I love
how
that.
how strong we are, and you get to know yourself in a way that I don't it would take you decades back home. There's no distractions, you're with yourself, there's no one to always take care of things, always be a soundboard, always absorb your feelings. You have to be your everything. And it's one of the most empowering experiences, I think, especially a woman, but anybody can have in their lifetime.
That's got to be pretty cool for you to sit back and watch that happen over and over again.
It's the most rewarding part, and it's why I keep doing this. Yeah.
Mm. So what have you learned as a business owner?
I've learned I've learned that at the core, everybody just wants to belong. I
Mm.
mean, I can, there has been, and we're all human, right? People can get overwhelmed, they can get angry, they can feel too far outside of their comfort zone, and people react. They might react with tears, they might react with blame on me or my team or whatever. They might not feel like they fit in with a group, and then get angry at the tour, like as if it's our fault. I mean, these things can happen, and at first it felt like a customer service issue when I
Mm.
started this business. I would sort of take the experience I had in customer service and try to like apply it. But what I've learned is that it's almost never really the issue. Sure, things go wrong on a tour. Sure,
Mm.
my team, we're all human. Travel is still a very human business, and humans make mistakes. But at the core of it, everybody just wants to feel something. They want to feel they belong, like they're connected, like they are part of something. And I think that when you deliver that through travel experiences, through really good support through our local guides and our local teams and the experiences that we include, that's that's sort of the secret. That's sort of the secret. It's not really about their room being too small or their bed being too hard. Not usually. It's usually about making sure that they feel like they belong.
That's really cool. I'll wrap this up with one more question for you. Is there one particular moment, whether it was because it was dramatic or because it was beautiful, but of the doing this for the last 10 years, is there one particular moment that stands out to you that you think will stick with you forever?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is a really, really simple one. I mean, I could tell you loads of travel stories that blew my mind, but this one was different. It's something that I mentioned in my TEDx talk, and I tell it a lot, but we, I was on our Romania tour, and we go to Romania for Halloween. Great, it's a great, really fun, really beautiful,
Oh,
gentle
that's a
type
cool
of trip.
idea.
Yeah, it's great. So I was with a group, and that day we were in a village called Sighișoara, and it's where Dracula was born. So we had this really cool day, like walking up a mountain, going to like this 13th century cemetery at night, like seeing where he was born, having this amazing food, going to these It was a great day. And when it was over, some people went back to the hotel to get some sleep, and some of us decided to go to like this cobblestone little cafe at night before bed. And there's maybe, I don't remember exactly, maybe six of us or seven of us, and we're sitting around this table. And it just kind of was a calm moment. It was a calm, quiet type of moment, end of the day. And we were talking, and then the conversation kind of shifted, and one by one around this table, the women who had just met like days ago started sort of talking about and sharing about how lonely they feel back home. Like
Hmm.
there's no one who really, holds space for them, who they don't feel like they can like really count on very many people in a meaningful way. And I just remember listening to this and and realizing how many times I've heard this same thing from my travelers in some
Hmm.
form. And these are like some of the most well-traveled, the smartest, most successful, funny, incredible women. And so many of us feel this way. And the fact that they felt comfortable to share this with each other after so little time even knowing each other really really sits in my heart,
Yeah.
like the fact that they have this space. They may not have it at home, but they did create it with each other really quickly. It just shows me like the longing is deep, but the ability and the potential to create these spaces is always right in front of us under the right circumstances.
That's really cool. Such a beautiful moment that you really couldn't have scripted that to go that way, and to be someone there experiencing that, and then to see it over and over again. That's you've got a really neat thing going with this community. And as somebody that talks to a lot of different people on a lot of different kinds of adventures, this is a different way to do it. And what I love to hear through our conversation is through the risk and uncertainty of traveling as a solo female, that they get to discover things about themselves that in any other context it wouldn't happen, or it would be really, really hard to happen. And that's what adventure is all about, is learning what we're really made out of. And Amanda, I appreciate you doing this and taking a half an hour to talk about what the community that you've built and what it means to you. I'm going to, in the show notes, I'll link to all of your websites and social media places so people can easily find you and find what you're doing through this community. And, maybe again, we can chat at some point in the future, but thanks again for doing this.
For sure. Thank you so much, Josh. This has been great.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the On Adventure podcast. Be on the lookout for another episode dropping in a couple weeks. And be sure to go to our YouTube page and subscribe and follow us there, as well as on all the socials from Facebook to Instagram and LinkedIn. Until our next episode, I hope you stay safe and stay on adventure.